Golden Axe is one of Sega's most famous gaming franchises, not entirely new in terms of concept or play mechanics. Double Dragon certainly paved the way for this and every other side-scrolling beat-em-up, yet Golden Axe distinguishes itself from the rest of the pack with its novel setting, beautiful presentation and solid design. Someone told me that the original batch of C64 Golden Axe tapes apparently had the last two levels missing. I never noticed back in the day, so I'm guessing I had the later batch, thankfully. So who's this Death Adder fella anyway? Well, not content with stealing the legendary Golden Axe of Yuria and leaving the poor townsfolk at the mercy of rampaging bandits, but he's also gone stomping around killing people for the fun of it. Just ask the axe-wielding dwarf, Gilius Thunderhead. Death Adder killed his brother. Or the very well-proportioned Tyris Flare, who lost both parents to the wrath of the Titan warlord. Or the barbarian Axe Battler, whose mother got in the way when the antisocial murderer came to town. Never quite got over the last name of the protagonist here either. I can almost imagine the conversation all those years ago.
So what are we going to call our son then?
Dunno. How about Axe?
Ah well, after all that, the pillock fights with a two-handed sword. Anyway, that's the introductions for the protagonists of the game, and now you can imagine why they are all hell-bent on revenge. When you've chosen which one you want to take out on this mission, then it's time to go kick some ass. The only way to free the land and people of Yuria from the clutches of Death Adder is to pay a visit to his temple hideaway and defeat him. But it's a long and treacherous journey ahead, and along your path you'll confront all manner of assailants. Ogres with clubs, soldiers with spiked maces, Amazonian warrioresses, sometimes astride fearsome fire-breathing dragons, giants with warhammers, skeleton soldiers, huge armoured knights, and, of course, Death Adder himself. There's a good few stages too, opening where you rescue the inhabitants of the ransacked turtle village, which turns out to be situated on the shell of a giant turtle. The turtle takes you across the sea, and then you fly to the castle itself on the back of a giant eagle. Are you sure Terry Pratchett never wrote this game?
Toasty!
To protect yourself, you have a number of hack and slash moves at your command. At close quarters, it's simply a case of hammering the fire button to swipe, slash and kick your opponent. The more athletic combatants can also opt for the flying kick, the spectacular jump and slash, or the downright show-offy pile driver. Leap into the air and stab your enemy through the top of the head. Sounds gruesome, but it's effective. You can also mount one of the sleeping dragons you find lazing about. Spur him into action and breathe fire onto your attackers. How do you like your ogres? Fried or roasted? This pretty much sets the scene for the rest of your crusade. Unlike the original coin-op, you can only contend with single opponents at a time, which admittedly is fine by me. But hacking through the army of skeletons on the final stage does grow a bit tedious, especially as it seems to take loads and loads of hits to actually defeat each one. There's no running away from the battle either, as you can't continue until each adversary lies dead at your feet, and the flashing GO symbol signals that it's time to move on. I love those GO signs in coin-op games. They were a definite kick up the arse to get on with the game. Double Dragon would give you a white gloved thumb pointing onwards. Final Fight was a subtle finger point followed by the word GO. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would show you a multicoloured arrow kindly asking you to hurry. But the best was Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, where it would literally shout GO at you. It's funny what you notice through playing these games over the years. The land of Yuria is nicely represented by a smart landscape which scrolls smoothly past as you hack your way through the enemies. The scenics are very nicely drawn, and the palette is switched at intervals so that the colour scheme remains faithful-ish to the coin-op. At the very least, you are treated to some wonderfully low-key, atmospheric and pretty spooky backdrops. You start the game with 5 lives, each of which is made up of 3 blocks. Every time you're downed, a block disappears, and once all 3 have gone, a whole life is lost. However, there is a continue option, and you can always steal some extra life force. Blue and green clad dwarves scurry on at intervals, clutching bags of magic potions and food. Give these guys a swift kick in the ass or swipe of your blade, and they'll drop their booty and scurry off. Very iconic in the arcades, as it was accompanied by a very memorable piece of music. Food adds another segment to your life meter, while potions go to boost your magic powers. A counter displays the number of potions collected and, correspondingly, the powers of your magic. When you're in need of assistance, smack the spacebar to unleash your elemental powers. Gilius can have powerful lightning. Tyris, firestorms. And Brawler, explosions. Again, a memorable sound was played when the magic was used on the coin-op version, although I didn't tend to rely on magic in the game, as I never seemed to have enough potions for the magic to be potent enough. Mind you, good for dispersing crowds, a problem you don't need to worry about on the Commodore 64 version. Other than the single player one-on-one gameplay, Golden Axe has survived the conversion pretty much intact. The enemies are still big, fast and as vicious as ever. Death Adder doesn't throw his fireballs anymore, but he's still pretty sharp with his axe. Admittedly, the collision detection wasn't too great in places, and you basically had to shoulder hit all enemies to avoid getting hit back, especially the damn skeletons who were vicious as hell. If you fancy a taste of cold steel on warm flesh, then give it a whirl. Considering the limitations of the Commodore 64, this was not a bad job at all. The only real letdown being the single enemy at a time on screen. Elsewhere, graphics and presentation were really nice. Oh, and did I mention the awesome Jeroen Tel's music too. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully this game brought back some memories from your youth. Playing this in an arcade somewhere on a pier at your seaside of choice. Well, that was me. Fleetwood Pier, around 8 or 9 years old. Mum and Dad would be off for a cup of tea and a game of bingo. I'd be passed a few quid, which I'd quickly exchange to 10p's and instantly turn to this game. I'm not sure how many arcades were in that pier at the time, but I definitely remember this was my go-to game there. Great memories. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and please let me know your nostalgic experiences with playing this game. Also, if you're enjoying the channel, then please do consider subscribing to the channel to continue with me on this epic journey revisiting classic games just like this. If you want to show support, then there's also a membership you can join through my YouTube channel, or alternatively there's a Patreon too, all of which goes towards helping the channel grow, for which I am massively grateful for. Hopefully I'll see you all in the next video. Until then, bye for now.